Hi guys, and welcome back for another video with me, Luetin. And yeah, just playing some game today, playing Journey. I just felt like this was actually kind of appropriate for what I wanted to talk about. You know, with the change that I've made to this channel this last week, where I decided, okay, I'm not really going to focus that much on playthroughs now, but more sort of individual videos each week. Things I wanted to play, levels I want to cover, and just generally enjoying games, talking about them and sort of discussing. There's a couple of reasons for it, but also an interesting thing that was brought to me this week was people saying that they felt like playthroughs are dead. Like they feel like playthroughs are not, you know, really happening anymore. People don't really enjoy them anymore. And this is not coming from me, this is from people I've spoken to, other producers that I've, you know, done things with or whatever. And not solely Battlefield producers, some are LP producers as well, just people I generally know. And you know, we've seen that. Okay, we've got to just start this game off. Okay, turning the controller, turn to the left, turn to the right, there we go. And it's, you know, this thing of playthroughs. Now the difficulty with playthroughs is that, come on. Oh, I'm supposed to do that. Okay, fine. If you've never played this game, it's literally astonishing. Still, even now, I love it. Are we? Yes, online play is disabled. I don't want to connect. The thing is, playthroughs seem to generally, the first 1 or 2 episodes do super well. Then the video is half, almost every time. And it's not just me that's experienced this. And it's not about a producer either. It seems to be more about a trend in the way that people watch. And this is, again, not even we're talking small. There's other people I've seen at other channels, some that I like, some that I dislike. But the trend is consistent. That if you look, and I've known sort of some fairly larger producers this week who've dropped playthroughs because they weren't performing. People who have very large channels and their videos were getting, you know, sort of 2,000-3,000 views. And they were just like, this is insane, I can't go on with this. Which is funny that their sort of subscriber base would be so sort of strong and resistant to the content they put out. Let's just take this moment right here. This game. You know, for a while I kind of felt like, I know this game, there's no point going back to look at it. Suddenly just playing this last 2 minutes, I'm like, I want to play this game right the way through. I want to have like an epiphany again. This game. I'm going to put below. I don't think did I live comment? No, I didn't know if I did. I did one playthrough, which is actually on my main channel of this, and I live comment all the way through, and it was in kind of my older commentary style where I talk very slowly and I think about the game like this, and I do that, whereas now I'm a little bit more natural in the way that I talk. But also I did a second video, which I believe is on this channel, but it was at the very beginning of this channel. You may not have seen it if you've recently subscribed. It's a solid playthrough. Like, I recorded this game from front to start, you know, front to start? From beginning to end, that's what I meant to say. From beginning to end. And it was an amazing journey. Because I started off and I wanted to do like I did my original gameplay offline like this, and I just did myself solo play it through. The second one I did it online, and about halfway through the game I meet another character, which is what happens in this game. But it just served. It was a really amazing game, and thinking about it now, I want to go and check it out. If you watch it, if you subscribe to this channel and you like my content, then if you watch this video, you will enjoy it, and you will maybe feel something for it at the end. I'll post the link below, and I would appreciate. It's a long video for sure because it's this whole game, so it's like an hour or two, I think. But if you can find the time this week to check it out, I think I would really like to see some comments from people on that. Sort of come back to that. I don't think you would regret it. I think you'll perhaps, if you've never played this game, I'm sure you have seen it, but if you've never played, then you would really apologise for the horrific drilling. There's builders in the house next door, and they have been builders in the house next door for like, Christ, I don't know, 3-4 weeks. It's not starting to make me lose my mind or anything when I get woken up by someone drilling into the wall behind my head. That's not aggravating at all. Anyway, playthroughs. So the playthroughs thing, it's a kind of curious one because, I don't know, like, some major big channels, whatever they post, people will watch, okay? They could put a video of them making toast and it would get, 50,000 views per video, because that's just how it goes. And it tends to be that when you have an extremely large channel, your subscribers don't give a crap for the most part. For the most part, of course, there's going to be times when they sort of take a stand and be like, no, we will not stick this. But for the most part, you could, do a sort of vlog of them eating an apple, and they'd be like, that's the best thing. Oh my god, I love you. You're such a good, amazing producer. You just did the best. So, I've forgotten the beauty of this. Woo. Love this game. Yeah, so with the playthrough thing, like I say, there is a secondary reason though why I think people don't get on with them as much. For one, I feel like a lot of playthroughs, the kind of styles of playthroughs have been done, and it's very, very difficult to innovate and sort of create interesting commentary. I find it very difficult myself for a couple of reasons. One is that with my Battlefield videos, I usually have like an objective topic to discuss. So I can go, okay, look at what's happening right here. There's a reason why this happens. It'd be better if you could do this. If you don't do this, do this. And so, I kind of have a general reasoning behind what I'm talking about. When you're doing a playthrough, you can only do sort of a few things. One is discuss something completely off topic. You can either discuss your surroundings, which in a game like this is very good to do because you can discuss the beauty and the architecture and the general dynamic and mechanical elements of the game. So you can discuss it from that point of view. Or obviously then you can go on and you can just make random commentary, like funny jokes, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff that generally I don't do. But all of these are kind of fairly common themes, and it doesn't take particularly long for people to sort of wear thin of these. Now, some channels that have been around for quite a while will continue and sustain, and people will... Oh, I can't jump, can I? For crying out loud. Come back, little things. There's that drilling. This is kind of hilariously appropriate that I picked this game because it just seeks to highlight how annoying it is when you're trying to have a nice peaceful day and some guy is like drilling with a masonry drill into the wall behind you. I don't know what they're drilling. Like, they've been drilling every single day for like the last few weeks. I'm curious. The wall next door must look like Swiss cheese for all the drilling they've been doing. Anyway, sorry. So there we go with the whole off-topicness, But I think the key point is really that I feel like, from my point of view, it seems the impression that I get, and this is the impression I get from talking to other producers and from subscribers and the comments that I see and hear, and not just on my videos, but when I look at other people's work and I see the same kind of comments there. The kind of impression that I get is that, like I say, a lot of people sometimes they want to experience the game first. So what will happen is they watch the first or second episode to get an impression of whether they like the game. At that point they go, hey, I actually like the look of this game, but I don't want to ruin it, so I'm gonna not watch anymore. Which is why I think you see this consistent trend of videos 1, 2 doing quite well, and then after that it suddenly flatlines because everyone is like, hey, this game looks pretty good, I enjoyed the commentary, but now I want to wait to get the game myself. And then maybe they come back like 3-4 weeks later to actually watch it, but probably not, because more than likely they forget or just are on to watching different things at that point, which is another reason why things don't go so well. So that's another reason why I think doing complete playthroughs is quite difficult. The other thing about doing playthroughs is that, dependent on your playthrough style, it can take a considerable amount of time, which as a producer is not necessarily a very, very good thing to do. Me myself, you guys know, I'd like to take my time and approach games a certain way. Now, I really love doing playthroughs, it's got to be said. Oh, let's just enjoy this as well. I do enjoy doing playthroughs, and I'm not completely ruling out that I'm going to do them, okay? I've said I'll do individual videos of content on like Tuesday, a Thursday and a Sunday. That doesn't necessarily mean, like I say, that every video is just going to be randomness and me talking and going, oh, look at this crazy level, do you remember this? It's so retro, blah, blah, blah. No, not necessarily at all. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to jump over here off that, aren't I? There we go. Wee la shot. This game is a beauty. And ding. But what I do find is that, yeah, you see this constant drop. Now, this channel was never about like getting massive subscribers or getting tons of views, but at the same time, like I've said before, whenever you create work, whenever you're putting time into something, you like to see some sort of return for the effort that you put in. You know, you like to feel like it's a growing, constructive thing, and so therefore you like to see that back again. Now, the other thing is that I think, from my point of view, because this channel is not the same as my Battlefield one in terms of the kind of style of content that I provide, I feel like the people that come to this channel and watch, it's going to be naturally a slower growth on this channel, because the kind of people that come to this channel to watch are going to be the kind of people who watch it for me rather than necessarily the specific content that I post. They're going to want to watch it because of what I'm talking about, the style which I discuss things with, rather than necessarily just what title is posting out there. That's why I post retro stuff, and it does usually as well as any new stuff, because it's not necessarily about the content itself, it's just about, you know, the producer. But when it comes to the playthrough thing, I think, like I say, is that I think it's just a combination of things that they haven't been doing so well. I think it's also that a lot more people are doing playthroughs now than they used to, so people are a bit more spoilt for choice, and again, that kind of has a negative impact. YouTube has obviously grown and grown and grown, and that has a knock-on effect with things. It's kind of interesting. Who is that down there? I just saw a little person there, but we're not online. Curiousness. But overall, it's a tricky one, and I say I do find it interesting that I've seen regularly some larger producers just cut doing their playthrough or drop series that weren't doing so well. But me myself, I've had to look at this because for the main channel, which, you know, it's not the main channel, my A channel, I need that one to kind of be constructive and be productive and going into, and also it was not just about that, it was also to do with the fact that I wanted the premise and the sort of philosophy of that channel to go a certain way, a way that originally I sort of didn't maybe sort of push it enough. And oh yeah, I'm supposed to like go over here first, aren't I? I'm supposed to do this. There we go. And as I've already explained about what I want to do with that channel, basically make it a little bit more focused on a specific style of doing things. But this side, like I say, it doesn't need to go that way so much. But for some producers, they feel like, okay, they're just going to go with one style of game, but I love all sorts of games, so I want to go in different ways. But with the playthrough stuff, it's like, it really just depends on what you're happy with, whether you want to just post videos and you don't really care about the views too much, or whether you really want it to be constructive, you want it to go a certain way. If you want your channel to be about growth and views, then for sure you need to be responding to what your subscribers want, because if you're not, you'll just alienate the subscribers that you have, and then it will just have a continually negative impact on the channel. Whereas if it's more about just the production and the videos itself, then sure, you don't have to worry too much about that. But as for the question of are playthroughs dead, it's a really tricky one to sort of say. I would say probably, you know, definitely not, but I do think that there's certain factors that affect them, and they're not for everyone. I mean, certain people's playthrough styles attract more viewers than others, and you know, that can be frustrating and annoying. It certainly irritates me, because I look at certain people's playthroughs and I just think, like, they're not talking about the game here, they're just making bizarre random commentary. But that's what people like, you know. Some people, well, it seems a lot of people like that kind of bizarre commentary. For me, I feel it kind of detracts from the title, and it detracts from kind of what you're originally looking you know, at the title for in the first place, which I think is not a good thing. But other people don't see it that way, so it's a slightly different, you know, perspective to have. Hold on a sec, I've just got to get up here. Hey, what's that down there? I never see this one before. We never ever saw this. This is new. Awesome. We never discovered that first time around. How cool. So yes, it really just depends on what people want and what producers are happy to post out there. But I do think there has been, like I say, a negative sort of impact correlation on playthroughs lately, and I think some have done not as well. And as I say, for myself, I'm not really the best person to kind of have that perspective, because this channel has not been solely set up for playthroughs, and also it's not been my kind of primary viewership for a long time. But for other people, other channels that I've known are LP channels, and you know, I've spoken to these guys and they have had the same problems and concerns, that they, you know, they're making these videos, and videos that would normally do very, very well for them have suddenly recently not. You know, in the past they would have posted a playthrough and the views would have remained relatively consistent throughout the whole of the series. But now, in the last few months, they've started to post videos and these views are not consistent anymore. They're sticking to the formula that I was saying before, whereby, you know, you have sort of the first couple of episodes and then you see it, you know, drop off dramatically. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting how things change. And, you know, there's nothing that says YouTube is consistent. In fact, YouTube seems to be always about thinking what are the new things that you can do, what can you do differently. Right, I just had to cut out a section there because the drilling was so loud you would not believe. But anyway, all I was saying was that YouTube is not about necessarily just doing the same thing. Like with the Battlefield channel, all the time I'm trying to think, okay, what can I do that's just a little bit different? And, you know, with that kind of stuff, it's so important, because the Battlefield stuff, it's like, you know, people are doing so much of the same thing, and this is the trouble with YouTube in 2013, is that so many people are doing so much similar style content that it's really important to do things in a slightly different way. That's why I have always tried to do my channel and my style in my own style of commentary, in my own way, which is a slower style of commentary, and I discuss a little bit more. And yeah, you know, I don't have the kind of loudness, the craziness that so many people seem to appeal to, but for me it's just, that's what it's about. That's the way of doing things, and I know that I will attract people that appreciate that kind of presentation of the work. So, you know, I'd be interested to hear what you guys think about playthroughs, why you watch them, why you don't watch them, and what it is that would make you want to perhaps watch them. Now, this isn't necessarily in relation to me, myself, creating content or anything like that. I'm just curious generally about it. And as I say, for this channel, I'm not adverse to creating playthroughs. Like I say, I want to finish Last of Us, not too concerned about the views there. I want to finish... what else do I want to finish? I want to finish Tomb Raider, because I've been enjoying that immensely. Final Fantasy VII, I think I'm probably going to escape the Midgar building, and then I'm going to put that one on hold. Not the Midgar, the Shinra HQ. And then I'll put that one on hold, because, you know, it did okay to begin with, and then it's just really tailed off, dropped off. I think people have kind of lost interest in the style in which I was presenting that. It may be one that in the future I want to revisit. Like, I maybe just do it in sections over the next year or two, whatever. It might be just sort of an ongoing project. But as I say, it's kind of, it tailed off so bad that I was just like, yeah, you know, this is just... There's a difference between the views dropping a little and you go, okay, but this is still acceptable, and where it drops off to the point where you think like, hey, this isn't really working properly as a functioning episode anymore. So I think that's the way I need to run it. Similarly with my other channel, the same deal. Like Far Cry, if Far Cry wasn't so near to completion, I would definitely drop it, because the views have dropped again. It went through a period where the views kind of, did I say Jews? It went through a period where the views came back up. And I was like, oh, you know, people, it's, you know, the views like doubled up, and it was pushing towards what I would often get for a Battlefield video. And I was like, hey, this is great. And then for some reason it's like kind of curtailed and like dropped back off again. So really kind of curious as to why that was, but just seems to have happened. But as I say, if it wasn't for the fact that we were so close to the end of Far Cry, I'd probably definitely consider dropping that as well. Because it's all about the content that you post on your channel. It's all about what, you know, is there for people, what's there to be seen by people. I'm going to run back down here because I'm not completing this section. We're just going to go back down and up, and then we'll finish up this episode. Let's jump. I'll jump off. Whoosh. Freedom in the game. How far? Oh, we didn't release this. Let's release everybody. Yeah, and it's like if you post too much stuff that is just doesn't fit within the remit of the channel, and the style and the kind of context of the channel, like people know what they're getting into, then it can kind of alienate people a little bit. They come back, they expect to see something, and they're like, oh, it's more of this stuff, which I didn't really want to see on this channel. Now, with this channel right here, that works slightly differently for me, because the way I'm presenting it and the way I want to run it means that when you come into the channel, you know that's what you're going to get. You come to the channel, you know you're going to get sort of different games, different styles of playthroughs, and me talking around them. But with the other channel, like if I do that there, it's just going to mean that like a large majority of the people that came to the channel in the first place can be like, this isn't what I signed up for, which is fair enough entirely. You know, it's like if I choose to go that way, if I chose to post lots of random different content, then I would expect there to be people who just, a large amount of people who just didn't want to watch it for that reason. But on here, again, it's a slightly different view, a slightly different context. So are playthroughs dead? I don't think they are, but I do think that it's becoming more difficult to make a successful playthrough. In the past, obviously, there were less people doing it, which meant that there was more sort of significant variety between producers. But now, when a new game comes out, everybody is doing it. Everybody is making a video. Everyone is going, haha, look, oh my god, there's a guy knifed me. Oh, look at the gun here, isn't that interesting? Oh, I wouldn't go down that corridor. Oh, the girl's been abducted, blah blah blah. And it's kind of like, yeah. And then you watch that on another person's channel, it's the same, 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 it's the same. And I think that's more than anything else what's turning people off playthroughs, because in many ways I feel like even if the content is actually interesting, just the fact that there's so many of them around can be a little bit of a turn off. And I think for sure there's dedicated subscribers, like the guys you that are watching this right now, you will be a dedicated subscriber, because only my dedicated subs will come to this channel and really watch this content. It's not the kind of content on this channel where I will just get random people appear to post, maybe one or two, but for the most part it's going to be you guys who watch me and follow me and enjoy me for my content. And you know, that's actually what I want with this channel. That is really what I want. But it means a lot to me that people that watch the video make a comment, leave a comment, because that's what this channel is about. It's about interacting with you guys. And I say the more that I get that, and the more that this channel grows, the more likely it is that I will do kind of like a playthrough, an interesting playthrough, and get good feedback, and it'll be a good successful thing. And I think that's what also playthroughs are about. It's about kind of subscriber, oh no, okay. Nearly fell off. Okay. It's about subscriber input as much as anything else. And if a series, you know, isn't supported by its subscribers, then obviously it won't succeed. And that's true of, you know, how things have been going generally for people. A lot of titles haven't had the support that perhaps the producer anticipated, and therefore for that reason they've had to make a decision, will I run forward with this or not? But as I say, with this channel, my intention is to not do significant amounts of playthroughs, and also I will judge it a little bit on sort of, you know, feedback. If it seems that you guys are enjoying the playthrough and I'm getting good consistent views and feedbacks, like, you know, comments, then okay, yeah, I'll continue to run it because I can see that people are enjoying it. But again, it's about that sort of balance of decision. You know, I'm not expecting suddenly my playthroughs to be getting like, you know, 1,000 views every time and like a wall of comments every time, but you know, within the context of the rest of the channel. So if it's performing acceptably towards the same as the other videos, or if I'm super passionate about it, then yeah, I'll push it through. But if it's not, then I'll just have to say, look, you know, like for example Final Fantasy VII, love this game, love playing it through, but the feedback and the viewership has simply dropped off, and for that reason, you know, not going to. But for example, Super Hang on Sunday is a good example of a game that I'm super passionate about, and therefore I'm just pushing through it regardless, because that is like a personal challenge to me, and that's the main reason why I'm like playing that one through right now. So yeah, a bit of a wide and longer video than I really intended today, guys. I hope you've stuck through to the bitter end slowly. I do tend to be a bit rambly sometimes when I talk about these things, but I don't know, playthroughs, what's your opinion? Do you think they're good? Do you think they're outdated? Do you think that play styles of games and things, you know, sort of genres of video production for YouTube can be kind of dated? Because often you see these kind of styles of videos come and go, like they're popular for a while and then they just drop off. I think playthroughs, personally, I think it depends a lot on the producer, but then it's a very subjective thing. Like I say, you're going to watch some people and you're not going to watch others. I would imagine that people that watch me would dislike other styles of content, because I would imagine that you're more amenable to certain things. That's how I am, certainly. You know, I watch a certain style of producer because I like that. I tend to watch kind of intelligent, calm commentaries. I don't watch people that are brash and loud and, you know, swear and are just generally obnoxious, because that I don't enjoy watching those kind of content. It's unappealing to me. But you know, let me know what you think. I'm really interested to hear what people think about this. As I say, I have spoken to a few producers recently who have had similar feelings for one way or another, and I'm just kind of generally curious to think about it. As I say, I've had a direct effect this week myself, coming to the same conclusions. And you guys know from my other video that I posted recently where I was talking about disillusionment with my channels, and I was like, oh, why are these series not doing well? And it took me a while to kind of sit back, break it down, come to a conclusion, and then come to a decision that I felt really happy and good about, that I wanted to push through. I was so at the brink, as I have been a couple of times, of just calling it off and saying, that's it, I've had enough of producing, I don't want to make videos anymore, I'm so fed up and disillusioned that the work that I tried to create is not really succeeding. But I think, unfortunately, as a YouTube producer, you just have to take that, you know? You have to accept that sometimes it doesn't matter how good you feel it is, if it doesn't do well, you know, you're almost shooting yourself in the foot to continue posting it bitterly. Now, again, it depends a little bit on the channel. This channel, it's not so critical to me if a video kind of drops a bit in views, because you know, this is even more of a hobby channel than my other one is. This really is almost just for my own enjoyment, whereas the other channel is more of a kind of, it's not super serious, but it's become more of a constructive, objective pastime for itself. But again, compared to other people, it really doesn't matter to me greatly, which is again why I'm happy to post things like Far Cry through to the end, even if it's not doing particularly well, because hey, at the end of the day, it's not my full-time job, so it doesn't really matter to me. You know, a video could technically get 10 views and it wouldn't really matter to me, whereas other producers, hey, if they were to get, I'm not spinning the camera around, by the way, this is just the camera doing its own thing. It was going peaceful, now it kind of went a bit crazy, so I'm back in control now. But anyway, yeah, other people it has more of an impact on, and that's probably why this has been an issue. Certainly for sort of certain LP channels and things like this, where they've really struggled with the views. But as I say, it's not just that, it's Battlefield players. I don't know, I think YouTube goes through funny times, and I think they didn't help us out as well. I think there's been a lot of difficulty from YouTube's own end. The way that they've been presenting content to people really hasn't helped, and the changing around with channels has really not helped as well. So there's a lot of different aspects to it. Like I always say, nothing's black and white, it's grey. There's a lot of issues there, a lot of factors, and a lot of a lot of variables, you know. So anyway, let's discuss it a little bit. Drop some comments below, guys. I'll reply as always and have a little think about it. Might raise this topic back up with somebody else if I do a discussion soon or something along those lines. But as I say, for the channel, going to wrap up a couple of series, going to push through others, and I'm going to continue with my new plan of Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. As always, really appreciate your support. You guys are important to me. This channel is important to me. I just enjoy it, and I really I'm looking forward to picking up some more titles that I can post now that I've got my little plan of posting regularly different content. It doesn't mean, by the way, that I'm going to post a new game every single day. That's not the way I'm going with it. It's more that I'll just sort of bounce around between titles that I enjoy, and maybe I'll have a discussion about something, or maybe I'll just literally do a sort of live comment of the gameplay that I'm doing. Anyway, thanks for watching today, guys. Look forward to posting something else soon. Let's see what we've got coming up on whatever it is, Thursday. Yeah, I'll have to think of something to do. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.